Hello, web designers and developers to be. You have finally made it. You have hopefully a website that is ready to get put online. It might not be totally finished, and that's okay. But now we're going to talk about okay, you got an index.html file, that's your homepage, and then you got a style sheet hopefully. And then maybe you have some other pages, and all of them are correctly linked with images and all sorts of good stuff. All of that is in one folder, and now you're ready to put it up on the internet so that I can see it and your classmates can see it. Well, you have some options on how to do that. Let's look at the three ways that are like the primary ways of doing that right now. So, first, we've got getting a host and a domain. So that's the very standard way of doing things, Infinity Free. In our course, there's a 6-minute video that walks you through using Infinity Free. You can upload directly to the website. We have published via GitHub. Again, upload directly there. It's also free. It's probably more secure and a little easier and just better to be a part of the GitHub community because you will likely use GitHub in the future. And then finally, the advanced web developer way is to use the command line interface with Secure Shell Protocol. We won't talk much about that, but I do want you to know that that is a thing. It is out there, and people are using the command line to talk to their computers to manage files and relationships between the server and their computer. So let's look at the get a host and a domain. So web hosting is rented file space. So web hosting is a company, right, that has a bunch of servers, and we rent a part of that server in which we can put our files, and then that service pushes out our files to the internet. People that have our URL can come and look at it that way, okay? The URL, remember, is a unique web address that's going to be specific for our website. So one of the things that we have to do if we're using a host and a domain is use this secure file transfer protocol. Often we won't use this, and I don't for Infinity Free. I just upload directly to the server. But the problem with that is that I am on a, technically I'm on a secure server because I'm using my school computer. But if I am on an insecure server and I upload to a server, if I'm on an insecure computer and I upload to a server, there's potential for interception, and bad stuff to happen. We're not doing any private information, so it's not that big of a deal, but you need to know that normally if you are a web developer and you're actually like developing for somebody and you're using your desktop as a development environment and then you're pushing up to the server, you're going to need an SFTP, which is Secure File Transfer Protocol, and you're going to need a program that acts as the intermediary for that. So basically, FileZilla is the most common, and it's free. And so that builds a connection between the server and your computer, makes it secure. Notice this loop where it's basically your computer establishes a connection via FileZilla, requests the transfer from the server, and it encrypts it and all of that good stuff, okay? So the reason why we want to have this server, besides just being secure, or this connection, this SFTP connection, is also that if we're working on our files on our desktop or computer, and then personal computer, and then we want to get it to our website, we don't want to have to go through that upload process because it's inefficient. It'll take a long time. For us, like 10 pages, it's not going to take that long. But if you have a bunch of files with, tons of files with images and all sorts of stuff, then it's going to take a lot longer. And so it's more efficient to have that connection where it's constantly seeing if there's updates and changes once you hook it up. All right, and finally today, well, not finally, we have one more thing. Today we're going to use GitHub, and all we're going to need to do is get a GitHub account, create a repository, upload those website files, commit, and then your URL becomes a subdomain of github.io, which is great. Subdomains, you're going to see that also on Infinity Free. If you were to use that, you're going to have some sort of subdomain unless you actually pay for a domain name. Oops. And finally, the command line interface. So the command line, something we used a lot back in the day when we didn't have like Windows operating system. We would have to type commands. It's a lot like programming. You type in a bunch of commands to interact with the computer, open programs, transfer files, edit files, la 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 la. So that command line, you can use it to interact with a server. And so that SSH protocol would be the protocol that's being used as you interact with the command line. And there's a lot more to it, so you can read about it in the link in our course. Let's go ahead and get into GitHub real quick, and we're gonna just jump right into this. So to start the process of getting our website up, we're going to sign up at github.com. It has this really fun interface. We're gonna do all the sign up stuff, entering your email, making a password, verifying all that good stuff. I'll see you on the other side of that. I'm gonna skip this personalization down here. You can see that I can skip it. Oh, so fun, right? Once my dashboard has loaded, I am going to create a repository. This is basically like creating a folder up on the server of GitHub. And the repository name is actually going to be our subdomain. Well, it's going to be our URL, but it's a subdomain of github.io, which is the server domain server that we're going to use to publish our site. So notice we have our owner. So we actually type in username, which is, in my case, juliet.croc, but you're going to put in your own username .github.io. So that's actually your website name. It's kind of like the folder, your root folder. You can have a description if you want. You know, this is about your CIS 133 Intro to Web Dev class. You need to check to initialize this repository with an add README file. Okay, and then a README file is where we could talk about, you know, what this project is, how to use it, all that good stuff. And then you could choose a license. So normally a lot of things on GitHub are licensed under an MIT license, which is kind of like a Creative Commons for software. And then when we're done, we're going to create the repository and we will see our main file area. You're going to notice that it says Juliet Croc initial commit. So when we're talking about publishing or uploading, when we actually want the changes to occur or the upload to occur, it's called a commit in GitHub. And it's basically saying, yeah, I commit to these changes. I want it to happen. So I went to add file and now I'm going to upload my files. I can either drag and drop them from my computer or I can choose my files via the File Explorer system. Now, when we do this, we can upload entire folders, but you have to be careful that they're under 25 megabytes. Then you could also just upload your individual files. I mean, you can even go in and highlight a bunch of files that you want and upload them. That's going to work too. All right, so now I'm going to go into my Explorer system, or my Finder technically, and I have this Design Jewels. Actually, I'm going to open it. I don't want to do the entire folder because then it's going to mess with my juliet.github.io. This is like my main folder. This is my root where I have Design Jewels over here. So I want to upload the individual, like everything here, because all of this is, all of this is linked appropriately within the HTML, CSS, images, even my JavaScript. All of that is linked appropriately. So I want to have it like this. Otherwise, it's going to mess up my links and I'm not going to be able to see my CSS. I'm not going to see my images, etc., etc. I hope you kind of understand. I'll show you once we get there. So all I have to do is highlight all of them and then drop. As long as it's under 25 megabytes, it should work. There we go. So notice it takes a few seconds for it to get up there, which is why if we're dealing with super huge websites, we're going to want to use the SFTP, the Secure File Transfer Protocol. So here we go. This is what I have. And then this commit changes, again, is like a publish. It's like a, okay, upload, go live, that sort of thing. So once I click commit changes, it's going to upload, process my files, all that good stuff. Now, the website is live, but it's probably not going to work yet. The name of my website is simply this, juliet.croc or julietcroc.github.io. What's cool is because I have this index, it knows automatically. I don't have to have like, so if I go over here, so here's my website. But notice here, to get to the index, I don't have to put the path for the index, okay? It's just there. So right now, you see this blank page because it hasn't finished uploading. What you just saw before was something that happened in an earlier video. So it's probably going to take a few minutes for it to get up there. But once it does, you're going to see your website. So be patient, it'll get there. Okay, so mine took probably about like 30 to 45 seconds, maybe a minute, probably less. We're just so used to things being instant that it's kind of hard to wait. But here it is, okay? So that was what you saw originally, but here it is again. Here is my home page. The only other page that I have is projects. It should work just fine. There it is, projects. And I have this JavaScript game that's not working. So let's say something's not working. You know, I'm like, well, wait, why isn't this working? I can look inside my code using the console, but I can also try to troubleshoot just by going to, okay, I'm on projects.html, so I can go back over here and I can go to my HTML. And I actually get to see the code. And if I want, I can actually edit the code right here. And so let's go down to where my JavaScript file is. This is like super advanced, but there might be a problem with how I have my JavaScript here. So if the JavaScript is wrong in here, then it's not going to work. So let's see. I don't know. Let's see what the problem is. We've got source equals JavaScript. I mean, technically, you could have that. That might work. Commit changes. So once if you update a file, then you commit the changes. What's great is if you say, like, if this is so cool. So what I should have probably done is when I edit it, I go down here and I say, oh, okay, I edited the JS link to work, something, okay, not, whatever. And then that is how I would commit the changes. Nothing has changed, so it's not doing that. But check this out. Create a new branch for this commit and start a pull request. This is cool. So if I changed into a new branch, then I could keep my original code, but then I can like branch it off and see what that will be as I continue this. So it's kind of like a test. You know, I have my original and I'm not going to change it, but I want another version. And so that's what a branch would be. All right, let's see if this worked. It did not. I think there's a problem, but that's okay. You know what? That's not what we're doing here. Okay. I hope this has helped you. You should have a published website, which is great. And if you are doing this as an in-class exercise, you want to give me your username github.io in the in-class exercise. Congratulations, guys. You are so close to finishing.